Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to continue this lesson that we did yesterday, the rat trap. We discussed the NCERT questions, but today we are going to do in an elaborative manner. So let me share the screen and share. Yes. Right? Lesson 4, the rat trap. We discussed this thing yesterday, the subtle sense of humor in the lesson. The peddler comes out as a person with a subtle sense of humor. How does this serve enlightening the seriousness of the theme of the story and also endear him to us? This we shared that yes, there is humor, yes, there is seriousness. Is humor subtle? Yes, there is subtle humor. The story begins with the seriousness, losing the path. He moves in the forest. He suffers. He's a sufferer who is suffering and suffering. So, is there any humor? Yes. Entwined with seriousness? Yes. So, we discussed, and now how to write the answer. Very, very important, children. This is a long answer question, detailed question, where there are marks for content as well as expression, accuracy. So, let's go through the answer, how we are going to write. There is both humor and seriousness in the story, which are complementary. Seriousness complements the humor and the humorous part complements the seriousness of the theme. Although he was a vagabond, he here is our peddler, who was a vagabond and did not know where the next meal would come from. Yet he left to his own meditations. It was his pleasured pastime to think about the people. He contrasted the whole world as a rat trap. You can even write, he contrasts the whole world as a rat trap. His pastime was to think about people he knew who had been caught in dangerous webs and others wanting to be caught in the baits. The baits we had discussed yesterday. It depicts his sense of humor. With stolen money of the crofter, he felt quite pleased with his smartness. Entrapped in the world, he believed that his own turn had come. It shows his sense of humor, which adds to the seriousness of the theme. As the Iron Master came to know that he was not his old comrade acquaintance and threatened to call the sheriff, he replied that the whole world was nothing but a big rat trap and that one day it will be Iron Master's turn to be trapped in the baits. The Iron Master began to laugh over this. That makes the readers, of course, feel humorous, but his sense of humor serves in the lightening of the seriousness of the theme of the story of the suffering peddler. Dear students, keep your you can say cams on, videos on, okay, right? Oh, very good. Now the next question, dear students, the reader's sympathy with the peddler, right from the beginning of the story. Why is this so? Is the sympathy justified? Whose sympathy? Reader's sympathy. Who are readers? We are readers. Right? So, do you feel sympathetic for the peddler right from the beginning? Or you feel no, he was wrong in his ways? So, this way, let's discuss this question that how this sympathy point is justified. Do we feel that sympathy is justifying or not justifying? We keep this way that yes, justifying. And we don't have to write in tabular form, but we need to, discuss because it is a question which depends on the reader's response. Yes, the sympathy with the peddler right from the beginning is quite justifying because the peddler is a victim of circumstances. He made rat traps by begging material. He used to beg not only food and other things, but also the material with which he used to make the rat traps. His business, which cannot be called as a business, but the trade, the small work that he used to do was not at all profitable. He spent a miserable life, begged and thieved to live. He led a regretful life and gains sympathy of the readers because sufferers we see as, with a sympathetic outlook. Look at them with a sympathy. Now, the reader's sympathy is not at all justified as the peddler stole Crofter's money. Not justifying. He stole the money of his benefactor. Right? Stole the money of the Crofter. Important point why we cannot justify. Very important point why we cannot justify the sympathy with this peddler because he was not a man of ethics, was not a man of values. You cannot steal a person who is helping you or who has even helped you once. The reader's sympathy is not at all justifying as the peddler stole Crofter's money, who was quite hospitable to him. He didn't tell the ironmaster the truth about his identity, that I'm not your friend who used to work in the regiment. He did not say a word. So he's not saying proved as yes, I'm your comrade. And he took him home and his daughter took him home. He was a pessimistic person without clarity of thoughts, rather rigidity. Rather rigidity combined with foolishness, little bit, not little bit. A vagabond without ethics. Now, the question may come, why is this so? This is so because you can write the first part, you can write the second part, you can mix and merge, and you can elaborate the answer. It is up to you as a free response answer where you find yourself as discussed yesterday. Do you find sympathetic? If yes, why? If no, why? So I have given you both the answers. Right? Fine? Clear, children? Responses awaited. Unmute and speak.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Very good. Now, let's move further. Let's move on to the next question. We have discussed this question also. How does the metaphor of the rat trap serve to highlight the human predicament? This is a difficult situation. Suffering. Human suffering. How this is being highlighted with this metaphor of the rat trap. Now, what is this rat trap? I said rat trap. I gave two meanings of the word rat trap. The rat trap which used to make and sell in the market to the people in the locality, in the vicinity there. Moreover, the rat trap, the whole world as a rat. In the lesson, the rat traps, the vagabond's philosophy is that the whole world the whole world is a rat trap. Right? So, metaphor, assuming the world as a rat trap. Now, how does this metaphor, this assumption of assuming or this assumption of the world as a rat trap, considering this world as a rat trap, serve to highlight the human problems, human sufferings, human beings' difficult situations? Do you think? Yes. In the story, the rat trap, the peddler sold small rat traps of fire. Pondering about his rat traps, one day he was struck by an idea that the whole world around him was nothing but a big rat trap. In fact, the whole world was a big rat trap. He believed that the world existed for no other purpose but to set baits for poor people. The world was full of riches and joys, shelter and food, heat and clothing, just as the rat trap offered cheese and pieces of bread as a bait. And the moment the rat sees those, he's trapped. The moment he touches those baits, the rat is trapped. The human beings as metaphor for rats, right? And the world as a big rat trap. When anyone was tempted to touch the bait, it surrounded him and it brought everything to an end. The more we are allured by the worldly pleasures, the more we find ourselves entrapped by them. You might have heard people talking that too much of material pursuits, running behind material pursuits, is putting yourself in a problem. So the same philosophy is being shared. However, expiation is possible, relief is possible, relaxation is possible, solace is possible, and attributes like kindness and benevolence can certainly help the wrongdoer to reform and transform. In this way, similar way, the peddler resolved, he left his old ways. How does the metaphor of the rat trap serve to highlight the human? I hope the answer is clear. Answer is clear, dear children?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Okay. Now, why did the peddler sign himself? Very important question of 2 to 3 marks. Earlier it used to come in 3 marks. Why did the peddler sign himself as Captain Von Story? The peddler signed himself as captain because Edna, the daughter of Iron Master, had treated him as if he was a real captain. He wrote in his letter that he had put in the small rat trap as a gift, as a Christmas gift. He added that he would have remained a rat throughout his life if he had not been treated with such kindness and generosity. This way, he got an opportunity to transform himself and clear himself to his true self. He could introspect and come to his senses and his true self. Right? Why did he sign himself as the captain? Because he was treated very nicely. This gave him an opportunity to think of the essential goodness and also that humanity prevails and nothing else is important in this world. Rest all comes after that. And they are then very easy to achieve. So he achieved respect. A beggar was now no more a beggar. A thief was no more a thief who will do thievery here and there. But is expected now would lead a life of respect, of self-esteem, maybe poverty stricken, yet with his self-discipline and confidence. Right? So what difference do you find between Edla and the Iron Master? We have discussed yesterday, but little bit I wanted that you should learn this way and this will become very easy for you to capture or captivate the points. Now, any volunteer who will read the answer, what difference do you find between, be ready first, would you find between Edla and the Iron Master? Anushka, will you read?
Okay, ma'am.
Very good.
Shall I start?
Yes, yes.
Edla is observant, kind, and considerate. She believed in true spirit of Christianity. She wanted to help and welcome him even after the discovery that neither he was her father's acquaintance nor did he deserve such treatment. On the contrary, Iron Master became a practical man, was a responsible father who did not want his daughter to be emotional and fall in any trap. He wanted to hand him to the sheriff but couldn't do. He was kind but not too emotional and soft-hearted like Edla.
So what is the difference between father and daughter? I told you yesterday that you know, father was practical and daughter was no, not bit, too emotional. She couldn't think maybe it is dangerous to give this much place, this much space to the strangers. Oh, she was very emotional, feeling very Christmassy because of Christmas. Father allowed her, but at the same time, father was also fine and the daughter was also fine. But the daughter was too emotional and to the extreme she showed kindness. This is the difference that Anushka read, and very nicely we have covered these 5 questions. And there are few more questions which the students can revise and we can continue, right? So I hope you have understood.
Yes, ma'am.
These are NCERT questions. You can open your book. If any other question you find, any query related to this, definitely will be helped. Yes. The next lesson that we will revise will be deep waters and some writing section topics. So let's move on to there are a few small questions also. What made the peddler accept Edla Willmanson's invitation? What doubts did Edla have about the peddler? Or even the character sketch of Edla can be written. And I hope now it is easy for all the students to write, right? I hope this has now become easy after discussing these points.
Yes, ma'am.
So, thank you, dear students.